It's been a little while since we've done a tech review, so today we are reviewing the Insta360 One R. And I'm going to be making the case why you should definitely get one of these, and you should abandon your action camera, your GoPro that's only shooting in one direction, and opt for the 360 degree video because it is a game changer. Off the bat, this is the One R. Insta360 also has the One X. The main differences, there are some subtle differences as well, but the biggest one is that this one, the R, is waterproof as long as you have this little case around it, down to 5 meters. The One X requires a case on top of it. So that was a big selling point for the One R. And then the configurations are slightly different. This one is modular and the One X is not. Don't be deceived when you read that this is 5.7K because that's 5.7K in 360 degrees. So if you have a small field of view out of that 360 degrees, the quality is going to be much, much less than 5.7K. That might be obvious to you, but I did want to state that because as you'll see, and I'll overlay some footage here, that as you zoom in on that image and you actually reframe it, you are going to lose quality a good bit, but I still think it's a great camera and it's worth getting even when you zoom in like that. So the main reason I'm going to tell you to get this camera, and this, I cannot overstate the importance of this to me, but having this camera and just having it on, I don't have to focus on it at all. I'm not worried about what's in the frame, what's not in the frame. I'm just carrying it, recording it, and I found that I much more enjoy where I am and I worry far less about recording, taking pictures, anything like that when I have this camera going, just because it's capturing absolutely everything. That might sound like something really stupid, but I very much enjoy recording and documenting our adventures and travels and stuff, and this has just been a total game changer. I was able to bring this to Hawaii and just totally fell in love with this camera. I think it is incredible. So we're going to keep going into details, and I'm going to keep making the case of why you should go out and pick one of these up instead of another action camera. That might really sound dumb, but it doesn't matter what direction it's pointing. You're just carrying it around. You're putting it, sometimes I put it in my water bottle holder. I had the selfie stick attached, so I would extend it, put this in the water bottle holder in my backpack. I looked like the little kid from Up with the flag sticking out of his bag, but was able to just really enjoy and focus on being there and being in the moment. And this thing's just recording its little life away. And then after the fact, I can look at the footage, reframe it. Absolutely love that about 360 degree video. For all you people out there that have been doing it for a while, you probably know all of these things, but that was just huge to me. So let's go through some of the specs of the Insta360 One R. I already mentioned that it's 5.7K in that 360 degree field of view, and that will degrade as you zoom in, of course. This is a modular camera, so you can take it apart, and they sell different cameras that also attach. So this one that I have on here and the one that I've used exclusively has been the dual lens module. They also have a 4K wide angle module as well, and then they have a 1-inch sensor. So you can get really just one little processor and screen, and then you can get the 3 different types. So if you want more of the GoPro look, you'd be going with something like this, which is just the 4K mod. And if you really want, I assume, better low light performance, you're gonna want that 1-inch sensor and probably just better overall video performance. The stabilization on this thing is insanely good. It uses flow state stabilization, so it's the same as the One X, and they have that in the One R. It does an amazing job of smoothing absolutely everything out, and I was very impressed. I think GoPro totally just changed the game in this when they started a few years ago, really getting that image stabilization, the digital image stabilization to just be so good, and Insta360 has followed suit, and their stabilization is phenomenal. I mentioned this earlier, but this is waterproof inside of this little plastic case to 5 meters. Now it is module So I wouldn't want to get it wet just on its own, even though they say that it can handle that. But when you put it in this actual plastic case here, it is waterproof because it's holding all those connections together tightly down to 5 meters. I think that's great because with the X, you had to put it into a case, take it out. So they really went the GoPro route where you just almost as is, you can get it wet, don't have to worry about splashing it or anything like that. So waterproof down to 5 meters. Another really cool thing is that the selfie stick that's attached to this is going to be invisible. So they call it the invisible selfie stick. And I think they want you to believe that you need to buy their selfie stick, but that's not the case. It'll work with most reasonably short selfie sticks. So I have put this on a 4-foot selfie stick. This is a shorter one. I put on a 4-foot selfie stick, and because of where the lenses overlap, it happens to just cut out where the selfie stick is. So that's a really cool thing and gives you a really awesome effect, especially when I was doing that backpack where I put the selfie stick in the water bottle holder of the backpack on a hike and you can't see it. It really looks like there's a small drone following me around. So in 5.7K, you can shoot at 24, 25, or 30 frames a second. If you're willing to drop that down to 4K, you get 30 and 50 frames per second. You can drop down to 3K, and that gets you that 100 frames per second. There are some really cool social media things that you can kind of do with these cameras. One of them is called bullet time. So it's going to shoot at that 100 frames per second. It's going to drop the quality a little bit, but it's a really cool effect. There's some other ones that they came out with. So you can do stop motion. You can do what they call jump planet. And one of the cooler ones that is out now is called time flip. So I'll put that up on the screen for you to see. Just a neat looking effect, visually stimulating, I guess. But I can't state it enough. The reframeability of just shooting in 360 and then being able to pick, this is the frame I want, not really having to pay attention very much to where the camera's looking or anything like that. We were fortunate enough to be able to go whale watching when we went to Hawaii, and all I had to do is hold the camera up. Didn't matter where the whales were, right? Were they going to be on the left side of the boat, the right, the front? Didn't matter at all. I'm just holding the camera, enjoying looking around. Didn't have to worry about getting anything in frame. So I know I'm saying it over and over again, but I really can't say it enough. I edit in Adobe Premiere Pro. They have a plugin, and then I actually use a GoPro VR reframe to be able to get an easy way to reframe that. Instead of in the 360 or in the VR, you just get your normal frame and you can yaw and move around and add keyframes. Very easy to do. So I'll go ahead and show that actually on the computer because it's very simple. They have their own editor. It's pretty good, at least the one I've been using on PC. I haven't had any issues with it. And the plugin also allows you to see the thumbnails on the computer as well. So you're gonna have this INSV file, but you'll be able to see the thumbnail now with that Insta360 plugin. Couple other things that they offer. They do have an Apple Watch remote now, so you can stop and start recording, which is actually pretty cool. So let's talk audio a little bit. They do have a USB-C to 3.5 millimeter headphone jack. They also have Bluetooth, so you could pair some type of headset, AirPods, something like that with it and get audio that way. So you get much better audio, but you could hook the Rode Wireless Go system to this pretty easily using that USB-C to 3.5 millimeter headphone jack. I don't have that because mostly what I've been doing is taking video for social media. So I'm shooting something and then taking like a 15-second clip, and I don't really care about the audio all that much. Or it's for B-roll. So again, don't care about the audio again all that much. So I haven't gotten the USB-C to 3.5 millimeter headphone jack. That's just not something that I need so far. So we will do a mic check. This is coming out of my Rode microphone on my Sony a6600, and this is coming out of my Insta360. So you can hear not amazing audio, not horrible, but I would not rely on it for good audio by any means. Another pro of the 360 cam, and this is a big difference between a lot of 360 cams out there and the Insta360 One X, is that this one has the screen so that you can see a live view of what you're seeing, and also it's a touch screen, so it's very easy to use to change settings and whatnot on the actual little screen itself. It is a little small, but you can move your finger around and actually spin the globe so you can get a different perspective on the little screen of what the camera is seeing. Very easy to use. I do like that, especially coming from the One X to the One R. I like kind of being able to see what's in frame, even though you don't really need to see that all that well. Now, at the time of filming this Insta360 One R for the 4K edition, which would not be 360, I would not recommend that. It is $299. The 360 edition is $449, and then the twin edition, which gives you both of those, is $479. That's at the time of filming, so this is May 2020. I went ahead and got the twin edition because it's only $20 more. I'm sorry, $30 more. I have not used this 4K camera mod yet at all, but I figured for an extra $30, I at least now have that flexibility to change that out. I do only have one battery, so let's talk battery life a little bit. Right now, there's not other batteries on the market. I have not seen any so far, so I did just place an order to try to get more batteries because the battery life is okay, but mostly what I've been doing when I'm not in a wet environment is I've just been plugging in a USB-C cable, and I have an external battery that just kind of powers it all the time. So if you were going on some type of adventure or something where you wanted to be a little more sleek, or you knew you were gonna get it wet so you can't have that little USB-C door open, then having extra batteries would be nice. The downside to changing the battery out is that you have to take the camera out of the little case, swap the battery out, put it back in. So if you were doing something with a lot of water, you're gonna have to get to a dry area to change the battery out, and it's not gonna be quick. It's not gonna take a ton of time, but it's not like opening a door, popping a battery out, popping a battery back in. You're gonna take the camera out of the case, take the battery off, put a new battery on, and then put it back inside of the case. Not a huge deal, but not as convenient as opening a door and swapping batteries. So let's talk battery life. They advertise a battery life of about 65 minutes, so about an hour. I haven't been able to actually get that. I'm more on the order of 45 to 50 minutes, and that is with the screen on. So if I turn the screen off, I'm sure I would get a little bit more time, but just keep that in mind. You're not gonna get tons of battery life. The batteries are pretty small, so you're probably gonna wanna opt for the external power or getting a couple other batteries. Another pro is the app. The app is extremely easy to use. You're gonna connect to the camera using Wi-Fi straight to your phone. You can pull the file off, you can edit it and then pull it off. Either way, the editor is very simple to use, and you just kind of scroll around in that 360-degree image, set a keyframe, that's the frame that you want. You can scroll forward. You can also have the app track something. The tracking works well sometimes, doesn't others. I don't really use the tracking. I more so kind of manually move around, and it's very easy to use. I also use it a lot for time lapses. So I'll set it up into time lapse mode and get going that way, and then kind of reframe everything just on my phone, upload it to social media. Really easy, easy, easy. Also, this is just terrible. Holy moly. This is my lockdown haircut. We need to fix this. You can obviously tell that I like this camera a good bit. So let's go ahead and talk about some of the cons of this camera. And the first one I already alluded to, and that's battery life. The battery life is just not wonderful on this. Oh, almost lost the camera. The battery life's not wonderful. It's about 45 minutes on video, and on time lapse, I get about an hour. So keep that in mind. The other thing that's kind of unfortunate is that the larger battery that they sell for this means that it no longer fits in this case. So you still are waterproof, but you're no longer waterproof down to 5 meters. So keep that in mind. Not a deal breaker, but definitely a con. That is much better. So another con are the lenses. They're glass, and the way that they protrude, I think they're just gonna get scratched up. It seems that if you drop the camera, it's gonna end up landing on one of the lenses. I've had some really small falls, and I haven't scratched the lenses yet. Had one big fall, and it landed on the plastic and I was able to save it. And so just the plastic got scratched up, so it wasn't that bad. But I'd love to see those glass lenses or whatever they're made out of, plastic, I'd love to see them be interchangeable like the GoPro used to be before this latest iteration, which I think is really dumb. So that would be something nice. So that is a small con, is I think it's kind of inevitable that you're gonna get those lenses scratched. I also already mentioned this one as well, but the low light performance, and I think this is kind of standard for action cams, low light performance in video is very poor, but that just has to do with the small sensor size. But keep that in mind, that the low light in video is very poor. You may be thinking 3 cons, that's not very much. Yeah, obviously that's not many cons. I do like this camera. I really don't think it has that many bad things about it. And so those are the 3 main ones to me. Hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching Break It Yourself. And I will change the ending just a little bit, because obviously giving me a thumbs up, commenting, those things are super helpful. But the #1 thing that you can do to help me out is share this video. So if there's somebody out there that's looking for an action cam or likes videography and videoing their adventures, send them this video. They might find it interesting and they might get themselves an Insta360 One R. Thank you for watching Break It Yourself, and we'll see you next time.